Hey everyone, welcome to Karchermakes. I'm Andrea coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, and this is a place where we like to talk about all things crafty. So first up, let's talk about Rhinebeck FOMO. The Rhinebeck FOMO is real. I'm sort of sad that I didn't get to attend this year, but just seeing all the pictures from social media, I know people will be posting vlogs here on YouTube. I'm going to look forward to watching those for sure. But, I'm a little sad that I didn't get to attend. I did attend in 2019, I believe. Definitely pre-Panakuchen. 2019, I'm pretty sure. And it was amazing. A group of friends of mine, we rented an Airbnb. Beautiful area up there, especially in the fall with all the trees, leaves changing and all that. So I did get to experience Rhinebeck once. Maybe next year is the year. Is 2025 the year of Rhinebeck for me? We'll see. So even though I didn't get to go to Rhinebeck this weekend, I do have two local-ish festivals coming up, and one is next Saturday. It is Frederick Fiber Fest. It's in Frederick, Maryland, and I say local-ish, it's like an hour from me. That's may as well be local. I'm really looking forward to going to that. It is a fantastic show. I feel like it's gotten bigger in the past couple years. I've been a few times, and the venue, it's at the fairgrounds in Frederick. I think it's just called the Frederick Fairgrounds. And all the buildings are nice bathrooms, great parking, and it's just a really nice show. It's a smaller show, but it's a really nice show. And then a couple weeks after that, I think it's the November 9th weekend, 8th, 9th, somewhere around there, is the Maryland Alpaca Festival, which is at the same fairgrounds that they have the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival at. Now, it's a much smaller show, and it's primarily focused on alpaca, but still a lot of great indie dyers, a lot of local farms, and it's also a pretty good show as well. And I always look forward to seeing the animals, of course. So if you're at either Frederick Fiber Fest or the Maryland Alpaca Festival here in the next few weeks and you see me, please come say hi. I would love to say hi and maybe take a selfie. That would be fun. So for this week, I have been a monogamous maker. All knitting, all mystery knit along, all week. This is very unusual for me. Normally, I'm working on at least 3-4 different types of projects at any given point. So I really wanted to focus in on the Go Dynamo shawl though, because usually it's clue 3 where I kind of go off the rails. And if you're not new here, you've seen that with last year's Geo Gradient shawl. But this year I've been sticking to it. I've been focusing in on it, and I have not been working on anything else. Now, kind of throwing a wrench in my plans for my other projects, namely the End Times cardigan, which I really want to get done by the end of the year, but I think it's worth it. And let's talk about the progress there. So I finished clue 2 the morning of Thursday when clue 3 came out. I don't know why, because I feel like it was a shorter-ish clue, and I really feel like I should have gotten that done a lot faster than I did, but alas, I'm a slow maker. This is my reality. So I'm gonna put the spoiler warning here. I will put a timestamp below for when you can come back if you're not interested in seeing any of the spoilers, but I have clue 2 done, and I've started clue 3. Okay, so if you're here, you want to see this, final warning. Look away if you don't want to see it. So before I show this, I want to talk about the speculation that I made in last week's video, and I talked about how we were kind of progressing upwards, but the edge of clue 1 was kind of unfinished looking, and I was speculating, like, are we going to come back to that? Now that I've seen clue 3, now that I've started clue 3, I think yes. I think that's definitely going to happen. I don't know, though, obviously. Stephen's always full of surprises, but let's see what clue 4 has to bring this week. But here we are. Here is, and I'm going to insert a better picture of where I ended clue 2 so you can kind of see. But here we are with clue 2, which was these brioche ribbing sections and these bubbles. I love how the brioche looks. So in my last video, we talked about brioche, and there were a lot of comments from people on, whether or not they like brioche, doing brioche, did they do the eyelet option instead? And the kind of common theme there in that discussion was, brioche is really difficult when you make a mistake, and I agree. There were quite a few times, and it was always on the knit rows that I dropped the yarn over. And the first time that it happened, I was like, what happened? What am I supposed to do now? So I just took my time. I looked at the knitting. I read the stitches kind of next to it so I could see what those look like correct. And then I was able to just pick up the missed yarn over. So there is that. That was from clue 2. Now, let's talk about clue 3. I know I've complained in the past about, I don't like doing things that are kind of repetitive. And, this is sort of repetitive, but in a good way. Oh, what do I mean? Let's just look at it. So this is the border that we are doing for clue 3. It makes these triangle shaped sections, and it's basically an applied border. So you work a section and then you're picking up from this edge as we go. And they are short rows, making these little kind of triangles. Although my boyfriend was like, it kind of looks like a funnel. I think if we turn it this way, if we look at the white-ish sections, maybe it looks more like the top of a martini glass. I do love a martini. So, a couple things about this. Now, he has, the way Stephen has the pattern written, he's just doing what I would consider to be a normal short row. You knit to the marker, you take the marker out, you turn, you knit 2, you put the marker back in, and it leaves a gap. And then on the final row, you go back through and you're picking up from the prior stitch the gap so that it kind of closes the gap. And I did that on this first little triangle, and you can hopefully see that a little better here. But it makes these kind of weird little ridges, and it could totally be just me and the way that I was picking those gap stitches up. But I kind of looked at that and I said, I don't love it. I don't love how gappy it looks, or ridgy rather. So I really thought about it, and what I decided to do was, and I'm pretty sure these are called German short rows, and if that's incorrect, I'm sure someone will give me the correct answer below. But what I decided to do, starting with the second one, and I've been doing it since, is on the short row rows where you do the knit 2 and then place the marker. That first stitch of the knit 2, I'm doing a German short row, which is basically you slip the stitch purlwise, and then you take the working yarn and you move it over the top of the needle so that it goes to the back, not around the needle, over top of the needle, and basically it makes a twin stitch. Do that for the first one, knit the second stitch normally, place the marker, continue on. And on the pickup row, that last row where you're kind of picking up your short row gaps, you just make sure that you knit that kind of double twin stitch together, obviously. It looks like 2 stitches, but it's really 1. So you want to pick up both legs of that and then just knit it normally. And I feel like it makes a neater option there. It's not as, and again, let me go backwards here. It's not as like holy and ridgy. You can kind of see those 2 side by side with a 3rd. So obviously, because we're making these wedges, right? It's 3 little wedges that make up this big triangle. There's going to be lines there from where the wedge is, but I just feel like it's a slightly neater option, and I like doing it. It's really simple, it's really easy, and I think it's been successful here. Now the other thing, so each one of these little triangles, the most number of stitches that we have on the needle is, I think, 17 at the absolute most, but it's normally like 15 as we're working back and forth. So trying to corral that on this giant circular needle was too much. It kept getting tangled, my yarn balls kept getting tangled. So here's what I did. I said, let me get a straight needle. Now I have a million needles. I don't have a straight US 4. Go figure. Too bad Signature Needle Arts went out of business. Otherwise I could have just got one. But so here's what I did. I pulled out my double points and I put a point protector on it, and it's this little alpaca who is so cute. Like, look at his little face. Maybe it's a llama. I don't know. I got this, and I got the set of these point protectors when I was in Canada last year. But look at how cute that is. So I just use this as my working needle to do these triangles because it's a lot less fiddly and tangly than using the, giant circular cord. So hopefully that's a tip that may help you as well if you're still working through clue 3. Just either use a straight needle or make one, as it may be, out of a double point with a point protector. So that is clue 3. Now, let's talk about, it's a mystery. We love speculation. I love speculation. I love surprises. As long as they're not at work. I hate surprises at work. But, so what do we think is going to happen next? Like I said, obviously, I feel like we're going to go back to the beginning here, where we started all of these wedges and crescent-shaped sections. I feel like we're going to go back there and do something this way. But then also, as I'm looking at this, maybe, see how this makes this nice little kind of section here on the I-cord edge? Maybe we do a tassel. Maybe we do some fringe. I don't know. I've never done tassels before. Maybe this is a tassel project. Maybe we have some tassels. I don't know. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think we're going to go back to the beginning and pick up, or are we going to continue going in this direction? I don't know. I want to find out. And hopefully I will be done clue 3 before Thursday. The fact that I'm not going to Rhinebeck, I have all the time in the world, right? Not really, but I'm not. I will be spending a significant amount of my weekend time working on this. So hopefully I will get this done in time for the final clue to come out on Thursday. But there we are. So like I mentioned, I was a very monogamous maker this week. That is all I made in terms of craft time. Just that, nothing else. I did not look at my socks. I did not even think about my end times cardigan, which kind of makes me sad because I really want to work on that too. But I didn't work on the quilts, nothing. Now, I did get some cooking done, and I mentioned at the end of last week's episode that my goal for the week was to try to make sourdough focaccia, and I did that. It turned out fantastic, and I'll insert a picture here and include the recipe below. But super easy, even easier than just making the sourdough bread, because you didn't really have to babysit it, and it's okay if it overproofs. It's not the end of the world. And a lot of the time spent on making this dough is simply it sitting in the refrigerator. Like, that was at least 12 hours of the making process, was just putting it in the refrigerator and letting it chill out. But it tasted so good. I chose to add garlic and rosemary to it. I know people do like fancy vegetables on top with like little scenes and stuff. Like, I wasn't ready for that. I just wanted to make sure that the recipe was a good recipe and it actually produced something resembling bread. So maybe next time I make it, I can get a little fancy with it. But it was really delicious, and we just ate it with some shrimp fettuccine alfredo, jar sauce, not fancy at all. And then what I ended up doing for the rest of the week for lunch is basically taking it, cutting it in half, and making sandwiches out of it. You know, Panera charges like $9, $10 for a focaccia sandwich, so here I have it for a lot less money. And then in other cooking, I don't know if like Instant Pots are still a thing. I don't know. I know they were very sort of trendy like 4 or 5 years ago or so. I feel like everybody's moved on to an air fryer, and I have an air fryer. I think I've used it 3 times. I have a convection oven, so I just use that, and it basically gives the same result. But I really like using the Instant Pot. There's so many good recipes for it, and the one that I made this week is called Unstuffed Peppers, and I'll put a picture of the cookbook that I get the recipe out of here. But it's a recipe that the family really likes. We really enjoy it, and it's so easy to make. It takes 0 time. Well, it takes obviously a little bit of time to cut the peppers and that kind of stuff, but it doesn't take a lot of time. I really don't have to think about it, and usually the ingredients that go in it, I normally have on hand anyway, so it's just a simple weeknight meal. Now, I will say I don't use ground beef in this. I use ground turkey. I don't eat beef. I don't like it. I haven't had beef since I was in high school, which was a really long time ago. P.S. I just don't like it. So I usually substitute either ground chicken or ground turkey for any recipe that calls for like ground beef. And honestly, you probably can't tell the difference. But what I like about this recipe, though, is that you ground the meat in the Instant Pot, and then, everything just gets layered on top, and you only wash one thing. I hate washing dishes, and the way that we work at my house is that whoever cooks, the other person has to clean up. Now, I'm the one that primarily cooks almost. I'd say probably 85 or 90% of the time I'm the one doing the cooking, but that's our agreement. So I feel like it's nice to have the boyfriend not do 15 dishes. He can just wash the pot, and that's it, and a spoon, and that's it. So in reading, I am currently reading a new book, and it is called Close Knit, and it's by Jenny Colgan, and I'll just show it here on my phone. And it is set in, I'm pretty sure it's Scotland, and it's just about, a little bit of like a coming of age tale. I think I'm only 30% of the way through, but a coming of age tale, and the main character is a prolific knitter, which I know speaks to me, and, just her surrounded by her knitty community, and then kind of also going out and experiencing life outside of that. It's been pretty interesting so far. So that's all I have for this week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Give this video a like. Subscribe if you would like more. And until next time, happy making.